friends, are you ready for today's video? Because it's a special one. This journey of sort of coming home to my sexual, sensual self has been super interesting. I kind of been exploring all of this in the last few months. It started when I was in Nicaragua in April. I've been doing a few things and exploring my body and my sexual self more and more, and it's just been super awesome, and I need to talk about it because I want more women to get onto that and see what happens. Before I get into how I've been reconnecting to the sexual woman that I am, I want to talk a little bit about why. Why am I doing this? For me personally, this whole thing has been on the radar because I knew that this is part of the work that I need to do. Considering my past and my coming out, which happened relatively late, when I was 26 or so. This entire time before that, not only was I suppressing a lot of emotions and feelings, but I was also not really in touch with my body very much and with my sexuality, apart from just my orientation, but in terms of actually feeling my sexuality and living my sexuality. I was having a lot of sex with men, but I didn't really want that. I just did it because I needed to prove something to myself. So during all these years, since I was a young teenager until I was about 26 when I had my first girlfriend and the first sex with a woman, I more and more disconnected from the sexual woman that I am. So that's about 12 or 13 years that I need to make up for. And as much as I've been with women in all these years since my coming out and having amazing, beautiful sexual experience with these women, I realized a while ago I needed to not just have sexual relations with other women, but also a real sexual, sensual relationship and connection with myself. I also wanted to just explore and discover that sensual part of me that is somewhere in there, because I always felt like I wasn't radiating a whole lot of sexuality or sexual vibes, sensual vibes. And I'm still a woman, even though I have short hair. I do like being a woman, and I like to radiate these vibes and sexual energies as well. And so I wanted to see what would happen if I consciously, with a lot of mindfulness and awareness and purpose and intention, just kind of went down on this journey to, my sexual, sensual self. These past few months, while doing these practices that are very practical, don't get me wrong, this is not just about sitting and meditating, about being sexual with yourself. It has really been about falling in love with myself and my body even more. I realized just how disconnected I was from my body, from my breasts, from just so many parts of my body that I didn't give enough attention, my entire life. And so I started worshiping my body more and being fully present with my body and, all my senses. And that in itself is giving me a lot of confidence and self-worth. And you'll see for yourself if you decide to maybe experiment a little bit with what I've been doing. And really, this has just been a big experiment that still keeps on evolving, and it's not something that I'm just gonna stop. Like, this is not just a temporary thing, it's something that I want to practice, not just now while being single, but also going forward when I am in a relationship. Because that's another big thing that I realized a few months ago, is that I really want to own my sexuality. I really want to own my sexual body and my orgasms and everything. Especially right now while I'm single, I don't want to just give this away to a partner for me to provide that. I want to be able to provide that to myself. But at the same time, I also want to own it while I'm in another relationship and be able to keep connected to this part of myself, because in that way there's a lot less pressure on my partner, because I can provide myself with a lot of this confidence and self-worth and connection and all these things. And in the end, it will just make you and me a better lover. So I think any woman will appreciate that, or man. All right, so what have I actually been doing? The number one thing that I started with actually started because I was following this YouTuber, and she's absolutely awesome, and I love her personality, and she's super hot. Her name's Ari Fitz. I'll link to her channel up here. And she's a queer woman who does a lot of really cool stuff on YouTube and Instagram. I must have read something or maybe watched a YouTube video of hers where she mentioned dancing naked in front of the mirror and just how awesome that is. And I was like, whoa, man, I'm 33 years old at the time, and I never danced in front of the mirror naked. And that really shocked me. And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to do this. So I put on some music, in the morning after taking a shower, and I started dancing naked in front of the mirror. And it felt incredibly uncomfortable. I was looking at myself and I was just like, woof. Well, here I was dancing in front of myself, and I was feeling ashamed of what I was doing. I could barely look at myself and, my breasts and all these other beautiful parts, and that in itself shocked me so hard. And I was like, whoa, man, this is so intense. Like, it brought up all these really intense feelings. And so I knew immediately, so I had to abort after a couple of minutes, but nevertheless, I tried, and I realized very clearly, I was like, Conni, we're gonna have to do this every day now, because if you feel this uncomfortable, then we need to stretch that comfort zone. And it means that, whatever it is that I fear and that makes me feel so ashamed, I need to do. So I, started dancing naked in front of the mirror every day for quite a while. So I did it every day, and even just the next day, it was much better. I started to feel a little bit more comfortable. And then the day after, I started to be like, oh, right, this is actually really awesome. And then eventually, after a week or so, I started to notice the effects in daily life. So I would do this usually in the mornings after taking a shower and just putting on some tunes, and I would just feel so much more sensual and just sexy, as I was going about my day outside and meeting people and talking to them, and it just felt really awesome. And I started to really just appreciate myself as a sexual being. So that was one thing, probably the most important thing that I did in the beginning. The next thing is that I discovered a blogger, a coach. She started a program for a week or so. It was all about breast massage meditation. And so she basically taught us how to get in touch with our breasts, but also generally with our sensual body. And I signed up for it, and it was so beautiful. I started doing these practices of, taking coconut oil and taking the time and then syncing the movements with my breath, and just, taking those 20-30 minutes of really connecting to the woman that I am and my breasts that get way too little attention, and my entire life probably, and I'm sure a lot of other women don't have a very close, intimate connection with their little sisters down here. And so that has been super beautiful, also a practice that I keep doing on a regular basis. Breast massage meditation. And it's so funny when you open yourself up to something and then suddenly all these things appear on your radar. Well, there's a saying called, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And this is, I swear to God, usually what happens to me in my life is that when I open myself up to something, teachers appear. And this is what's happened with this, with reconnecting to my sexual being. And so the next thing that then happened is that this other woman that I've been following for years actually now, she started doing a program called Sexting Yourself. And I signed up for that. I was like, yep, bring it on, I'm doing it all. So I just, as you maybe know by now, when I get into something, I can quite easily get obsessed. And so I've been obsessing about this. and it's been really, really fun and exciting and just a beautiful journey, and getting to know myself and my body even more, reconnecting to who I am as a sexual woman. And wow, I just can't say it more often enough, you know? So sexting myself, which basically means through the program I started learning and connecting also with other women, but we started learning how to take sensual photos of ourselves, sensual selfies. And that was super, super exciting as well, because again, something that I had not done very much in my life at all. I have to admit that sexting was not something that I've ever been into very much, because I felt so embarrassed and ashamed of doing it, you know? So again, something that I, you know, eventually want to explore more and dive into more as well. But in the meantime, I'm sexting myself. And following up from that, you know, exploring, taking photos of yourself while you're basically naked or semi-naked. I also have a photo shooting scheduled later this week, which is with a professional photographer, and specifically to take sensual sexual photographs of me. So that'll be very interesting. And again, it's very intentional. I'm not just doing this just for fun, because I need to fill my time. I'm doing it because it's part of this work. It's part of reconnecting to myself. All right, 2 more things that have been pretty cool recently as well is that I started to consciously masturbate. Masturbation is something I haven't talked about very much in my videos. It's something that I'd like to talk about more because I feel like we need to talk about it more, because we all do it, right? And I feel like it needs to be de-shamed. And when I talk about conscious masturbation, what I mean is that I don't just masturbate just for the fun of it, and just because I want to have an orgasm, and just because I want to play out these fantasies in my head or whatever. For me, it's masturbating while being super present with myself and my body. And if that means that I won't have an orgasm, that's totally cool too. But anyway, so conscious masturbation and very almost like a meditative practice as well, you know, of discovering and exploring your own body more, and also feeling more into your own, how do I say, turn-onness during the day. I've also been basically exclusively using coconut oil after taking a shower for quite a while actually now, and that in itself for me is a very sensual thing to do, is to just cover my body in beautiful smelling coconut oil. Just the smell of coconut oil kind of turns me on now, which is kind of awesome. So yeah, coconut oil, guys, girls, use it a lot, especially after taking a shower, maybe before going to bed. It's just... And lastly, being back in the tropics makes this a bit easier, but I've just been consciously trying to be a bit more naked. It's not that I walk around naked in the house very much, but you know, just walking around in my bikini, or just having my top off and wear my bikini top and some shorts. I've also been sleeping naked again for the last couple of months, which I hadn't done for quite a while. And sleeping naked is really beautiful, and it's not just something that you should do with a partner. It's something that we can do when we're single and on our own in bed, and just, you know, just kind of being more in touch with our skin and seeing our skin more. One reason why Bali. So this is it. These are all the things that I've been experimenting with these past few months, and through which I have been discovering and exploring my sexuality and sensuality. And yeah, I can totally recommend diving into all of this. I'd love to know now, obviously, women, girls, what's been happening for you? What do you guys do to connect to your own sexuality, to your own sensual being? What are your practices that you do on a regular basis? I'd love to learn more about what you ladies are up to, and put it in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed my video, give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you tomorrow in the next video, of course. So we're doing a video every day this month. So thank you for watching. It's been a pleasure. So much fun making these videos. Thank you. Bye. Mwah.